my channel. Previously, I have made videos regarding Frcpath Part 2. Today, it's the time for discussing Part 1. Yes, so if you are already in that path or you're on your journey into Frcpath, you must be knowing by now that you have to give 2 exams to clear your Frcpath and to become a fellow of Royal College. So today what we're going to talk about is about the Part 1. About Part 2, I have already spoken about in great details, and I think and I hope that it will be sufficient for anybody to know whatever you want to know about Part 2. The rest is now about your revision, about your hard work. But the information that you need, I think I have given enough already in my videos about Part 2. So this time it's about Part 1 that we're going to discuss. I had promised this long back, and okay, sorry. I promised this long back that I will be making a video, but yeah, now is the time. Before we begin the video itself, I would like to ask you guys to please like, share, and subscribe the channel, and also to keep commenting about your what you like, about what you dislike about the videos, and also about what things you would like to know more from me, right? Or any guidance that you need, because I have been through this, what you are beginning to go through, and now I'm towards the end of the journey, so I would be able to guide you at whichever step you are at right now in your journey. So do let me know what you guys want to discuss it further, about which topics, and we will take it from there. Alright, so what are we going to talk about today? The layout of this PPT would be such that we will be talking about the exam logistics. Now that's basically that's because I have had questions from people about it. It's not something which I should be discussing, but yeah, just to for the benefit of some people, because some people have really gone to the extent to because I find them confused and lost, because even to begin to understand the exam itself or the exam logistics, or even to get registered for the exam. There have been questions to me, so I thought I'll just give you an overview of how and what about the exams. And then we will go into the understanding the exam itself, what kind of questions, how many hours, etc., what challenges you might face, how can you prepare about it, and about the exam day and results and miscellaneous, whatever we can discuss. Okay, exam logistics, as I said, most of this information you will be able to find it on the official website. The official website, of course, is rcpath.org, and when you have to go and create an account there, and when you go and create an account, you're gonna go into the trainees section. Because why? Because the Frcpath is something which is for the trainees. Trainees are equivalent of residents for us in India. Other countries might still have the name trainees, but in India we call them residents, junior residents. So yes, these exams are for the junior residents. So when you go into the Frcpath account, your RCpath account, you are going to go to the trainees section for the examinations. So then you have an examinations option there in the drop down box, and in the examinations you have everything, all the information about the exam, when to apply, when the deadlines are, what this, that, and everything, some sample questions, even the application form, everything is there on the examination section of the trainee, from the trainees section of your account. Okay, so that's where I'm that's why, yeah, that's all. Just I thought I'll let you know. Now about the exam application itself, you have to register for the exam, and that's also going to be through the official website. So don't go to anything else. You have to go through the official website and then get yourself registered. The examination location is, it used to be only in certain locations. In India we had a center in Delhi, and yeah, there was only one center in the entire country. But now the exams are completely and only online. So it's completely online. So what that means is that, first of all, it means that you can do it from anywhere in the country. You don't have to really travel all the way to Delhi if you're in India. But if you're even in any other country, and if you have a center, not have a center, that doesn't apply now to you, which is a good thing. Also, you can do it from the comfort of your home. That's another good thing. And also, this is good because before there was a chance that the number of candidates would be limited, because they can only accommodate a certain amount of candidates at a center. Every center has its capacity, so you may or may not get the opportunity to give the exam that year. Okay, but now when it's all online, it's possible they can accommodate more number of candidates, because you can give it actually from your home, so they don't really have to They have the system in place, they have everything in place, they just need you to register and then you can give your exam. So that's good in a way, because yeah, there is no capping of the candidate numbers, so that's good. That's a good thing. um, just letting you know, because it doesn't really alter anything for you, but I'm just letting you know that this is how it is, and how it was, different for me when I gave my exam, and now it's different. The things are different, right? Now the exam is offered twice a year. This is for part one and part two both. Both of the exams are done twice a year. One will be in spring. The next part one exam is on the 29th of March, 2 months from now. Not 2 months, actually, 1.5 months from now. And once it will be in autumn. Autumn is, September, October time. Then you have your exam. Also same thing for the part two, just that the part two is a little later than the part one. So you have your part one and then you have your part two. But of course you cannot give both the exams in one setting. So you, at least if you give your part one, you cannot even apply for both of the exams together. So you need to apply for one of them at a time. So you give your part one, you give your exam. Say for example you have already applied, you're gonna take your exam in March this year, just for an example sake. So then you will give your exam, you will wait for the results. The results might come 6 weeks later, or by May probably. And then you wait for your, if when hopefully you will clear. And when you clear, you again have to wait for the applications to open up. When the applications open up, then you're gonna apply for part two and then give your exam. Okay, so that's the minimum that you will take. So it's a minimum of like a whole year. You will at least need of like 10-12 months to complete both your exams. You cannot apply for both the exams together and clear part one and part two together. You can't do that. All right. So now the specific dates, of course, is going to vary every year, which date, etc. And that's why you need to keep going back to that Rcpath account of yours, and you need to keep going back to see the deadlines. You need to be careful about the deadline, because once the applications are not taking, if they're not taking any more applications, then that's it. You lose your chance, right? And you have to wait another 6 months for the exam dates to, or the applications to open up again, and then only you can apply. So you have to keep looking. Once you get serious about this exam, then you have to start looking for the deadlines. You have to apply it, pay the entire thing, and then start preparing for the exam itself. Okay, so if you have missed the date already for this year, then again you have to start looking for it from May or June, maybe till July. You will have the time to fill your forms. Okay, so start looking, create your account and start looking on the website and see when you can do it. If you've already done it, that's good for you. Then and I hope that you get through it, and then you again will have to again see from May or June for part two. Okay. Right. So this exam is in March, and the next exam probably will be in September, right? So those exams results will probably come by November, right? And then if it comes in November, then you can maybe December or January you have to again look for your next exam. Okay, so December, January, you will have to start looking again for your next exam or part two exam, to fill the form, etc. Okay. Now about the fees. So the fees is it keeps increasing. It's not a static or a standard digit. It keeps increasing, and it's also not the same for everybody. So people who are inside the country, they pay a different rate, and who are outside the system, they pay a different rate. So for us, the IMGs, the international medical graduates who are giving their exams from outside the country and outside home, they pay around £700. Okay, and it keeps increasing. But this time, I think it was 700 or something, something close to that amount, which is almost 70,000 INR, in Indian rupees. So it is a very expensive exam. So once you have to, why am I telling you this? Is also because when you have started to think about it seriously, I want you to add to this the seriousness, because I want you to understand that this is a serious exam. Take it seriously. It's costing you money, it's costing you your time, and just don't take it easily. Okay, don't take it easy, especially if you're serious about it. Okay, now what's the eligibility for giving this exam? Now here, people can take their exam. The trainees, the residents over here, they can take it in even before they enter the residency program. But they can also do it 1 year into the residency or 2 years into the residency. That's when they do it. Now, but for us, what we need is that IMGs, So like in a criteria sense, or a, what do you call it, like a literal sense. Literally, I mean, yeah, on paper, basically they should have at least 1 year of histopathology training. But practically, or basically, what you need to give this exam is that you need to have a basic understanding of histopathology. You need to have an understanding of the lab, how it works. Basically, if you have been a postgraduate, if you have already done your post graduation in histopathology, then you would have complete understanding of how things are, and then you will be able to give this exam. Okay. uh, Also, because even if you have not been a resident or a postgraduate per se, you're just an MBBS. I would be talking more about the Indian scenario, because that's where I am from, and I can relate to and understand the concepts of India more. And I don't know, I'm sure that different countries have their own ways of things, and different terms, etc. But I hope that you can understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that you do your MBBS, and then in India we take a post graduation entrance exam, and then we go into the post graduation training. Now, your country, your system might be different, but this is what we do in India, and that is in itself is a very difficult exam that we give, and then we go into this system. And then but even if you have not gone through the post graduation thing, and if you have just been like a senior resident or something in a lab, even then you can give the exam, because that in itself is not a criteria that you have to be a postgraduate. You should just have an understanding of histopathology. You should have been because they know are not going to ask you for an MD or a DNB degree to be able to sit this exam. What you need to know is that you should know yourself. If you know that you know histopath well, if you know the things in and out, and if you know that you can answer the questions, then you can sit the exam. That's okay. That's all right. So you should know yourself, and that is exactly what people who are here also do, because they do 1 year or 2 years of histopathology training, and they assess themselves when they're ready to give the exam. So sometimes they give it after 1 year, and sometimes they give it after 2 years. But exactly like I said, you have to know yourself when you are going to become eligible. But ideally, in most circumstances, because especially because pathology is not like a clinical branch, and you would not be in a SR ideally in after doing your MBBS, you would not just jump into a lab and start working there. It doesn't really happen in India, at least not in India. So yeah, it is highly possible that you're already a postgraduate, and then you're finding about chances of going abroad, and then you are coming and finding out about these videos, isn't it? So in that case, you already have some experience, you already have some knowledge, so you just give your post graduation exam just like a backup plan to focus on that as well, just like a backup plan. And when you're preparing for your post graduation, you are automatically also preparing for your histopath examination part one as well, because you will have basic understanding of histopath. And especially if you're doing a DNB, I think I have done my DNB, and I think that it really helps, because you are in a better, well equipped institute, and you are more familiar with the IHC and molecular and stuff like that, and than the medical colleges. And yes, yeah, again, I have already said in my all my videos, and I already said that this is all my views. Okay, this is what I have felt about the things, and this is what I feel, and what my I think should I advise you. So do if you don't agree with me at any point, it's all right. But this is just what I'm thinking, and I'm telling you. Okay, so I feel that DNB people have more knowledge about histopathology than the other medical colleges, uh, as compared to medical colleges from India. But again, this cannot be a general rule. It depends on where you are from, where you're doing your PG, and where you're doing your DNB, etc., etc., etc. But when I did, and what I have seen people, I have seen that it's easier for the people who have done doing the DNB to get hold of things or understand things. But it is possible that you have done your MD from some place, and you have a few years of exposure to histopathology in a very good place, and then you're equivalent. You still have the same knowledge, and you are still good to go, right? So basically, like I said, to summarize this, you need to understand yourself. You would understand best what you have been exposed to. You would understand best how much confidence you have in seeing the slides, how quick you are in seeing the slides, how good you are in seeing the slides, and how good you are in interpreting everything. So, and how good you are in your theoretical knowledge, because theory also counts here. This is basically a theory exam, right? So theory also counts. So yeah, if you know that all that, then you please give off your exam. Like I said, it's an expensive exam, so think before you are giving it off. Otherwise, just take a 6 months time to decide on things, and then give your exam. So don't just rush into it. But yeah, that's how you should do it. Okay, now filling the form, I am just going to go through this very quickly because what do you need before giving your exams? So you already can arrange for a photo from any time, so that's all right. Again, as I said, because I have got questions regarding people who get confused, so that's why I'm giving you this. Now you also need, what else you need is a resume or a summary of things what you have done. Your educational qualifications and also where you have worked till now. So again, now this may be so that's why it's not like they're not limiting it to only students, that only students can give the exam. People give it even after multiple years of work. They have work experience and then they give their exam, so all that thing counts into your resume. And you just need to have things in place just before you to fill out your form. Just have these things in place so that you can finish it off in half an hour, right, and get done with it, because otherwise you will take time to fill the form. That's all what I want to say right now, quickly, just quickly taking you through what you will need. You'll need your qualifications from whatever MBBS degree till whatever present things you have. And if you have certification courses, you don't really have to fill that in, it's not required really. And you need your employment history, right? So wherever you have worked, you just put in there. It does not matter if you have worked in clinical pathology or histopathology or hematology, you just write that all that there, right? You will need a credit or debit card for payment. Now in my experience, I would say that use a credit card than a debit card, because debit card usually from India, it does not get accepted. Okay, so you will have those failure payments, etc. Just don't go into that hassle and just get a credit card and get it done with. Okay. Okay, yeah, one important thing is that if at least if in case you require this, most people, I'm assuming that you do have a passport and it's valid, so you at least should have like 6 months left on it or a year left on it. But this is one thing that you will need, and this is kind of an identification thing for you, identification card or something, whatever you say, right? But some people might have applied for the passport and may not have had it yet, and some people may just not have it at all. So if you do not have it, or if you think you have applied but you haven't you haven't received it yet, in those cases I would say that please contact the RCPath directly and talk to them and see what else you can provide them with as an identification form, for of your proof of yours. Okay. So but other people, yeah, if you have a passport, you will need it because you need it for the examination application, and also on the exam day, so you need a valid passport for the entire time. So, and if you do not have a passport, please apply for it. In India at least, it is extremely easy to get it. It's easy, very affordable, and very quick. So please just apply for it and get it, because anyways you're going to need it if you're planning for this exam. Okay, and I am actually assuming that all of you already have it, but I'm just letting you know, if in case anybody does not know this, that you have to know it at this point, that you will need your passport. Okay. Now the last and the most important thing is about the sponsor form. Now I have got multiple queries for this as well. That's why I need to address it properly. Now the thing is that sponsor, ideally when you're here, a part of the UK training program, then you have a sponsor who is going to sign it for you, and they can vouch for you. Yeah, I think this girl or this boy is capable of giving the exam, right? But as an IMG, we are assessing that ourselves. We are assessing ourselves if we are able to give that exam or not. Okay. So basically, but you still need to somebody to fill you the sponsorship form for you. Now this form can ideally be filled by anybody who is, but they would, what the form says is that it has to be somebody from a fellow, somebody who is already a fellow of the Royal College. But that is not a criteria. That's not like a strict criteria. Okay, people get confused. People say, oh, I don't have somebody who is in a Frcpath. Oh, why would somebody sign for me? They will sign for you. Somebody in the department will know you, somebody who can vouch for you, just that you know that I trust this person can give an exam. It's not like they're taking a responsibility of yours that you have to clear, you will clear this exam, otherwise I mean, I don't know, I take your responsibility or something like that. It's nothing like that. It's just that they have to sign a form and they have to say, oh yeah, I know this person and I know that they have sufficient knowledge to at least be able to sit to for that exam. That's all you need. So it does not have to be somebody who is a fellow of Royal College, and it does not have to be like somebody who anything, but it's just like somebody who just knows you, who is like a supervisor, or maybe an AP in your department, or a HOD in your department, or anybody seniors in your department, anybody who knows you and who can sign it for you, saying that yeah, I know this person, I have worked with him, and I think they can give the exam. That's all. Now, the exam template is already available on the Frcpath website, where I told you examinations wala section, in the trainee section, examination section, you will have the sponsorship form. You will have to download it. You'll have to get it signed by them physically, and then you have to upload it and you have to send it with the application, or for your application to be accepted. Okay, you need a sponsorship form. That's kind of a requirement they need it, but it has to be. You have to understand that it just should be somebody who is involved in your education, or somebody who just knows you, can vouch for you, that yeah, I know that this person can sit the exam. Okay, it's as simple as that. It does not have to be anything. It's just not yeah, because I don't know why people they keep asking me, and they can't believe it when I tell them that it can be anybody in the department. They're like, no, it have to be a fellow of Royal College. Where should I find that person? It is okay, right? It is a necessary thing. It is one of the requirements. You have to get the sponsorship form from someone, but you don't have to make it more difficult for you yourself to get this form. It's just find somebody who will be able to sign it for you in the department and just get it on you. This is just a one of the formalities, right? They have to sign it for you, and that's it, right? Ideally, it has to be somebody who is in the candidates recently, recent training. They have been a part of your training, and they've been like an educational supervisor for you or anything. Maybe your guide would be the best person. Maybe if you are still in your training program, in your residency program, if you're doing a thesis with somebody, or a guide somebody, or anybody who you think is your mentor, you can ask them to get it signed. Yeah, but it was just remember that the template will be changing. They make slight changes, words, this, that, in the template every time now and then. So just make sure that you download the latest version from the website just before you're filling off your submission of your application. You just take it off, take a print out of it, get it signed, and then upload it and send it off, right? So that's for the sponsor form. That I really think that you don't have to worry too much. Yes, you need it. It is a necessity, but don't worry too much about it. Yeah, you will find somebody for sure. Okay, now, so once you are done with all that, and you do a payment of around £700 something, then what are you going to expect next? So you're going to expect email receipt. You are going to receive this immediately, like a receipt for a payment, that okay, you have paid it, and then you will receive another email saying that okay, this is your application form, this is what you have sent to us, and this is your two emails you will get back to back, and those two emails have to be received by you, because if you don't receive them, then you have to contact the Frcpath and tell them that I haven't received them, because that means that your application has not been submitted yet. So this is like, when you give your exam, this is the first step. You have to know that your application is getting submitted, and this is important why we're discussing now in the part 1 exam, because once you clear your part 1 or submitted your application for part 1, you know the drill, and part 2 does not require these discussions, right? Because you know everything already. But for giving your part 1 exam, I think some people might be really new and they might not know. So that's why I'm just giving you all these basic information, which anyways, if you go on the website and you search the website, you will get all this information anyway. So this is nothing what do you call it, strange or new that I'm giving you. This is just a basic information that I'm giving you anyways over here, right? So you must receive both those emails, and then you can contact and they will come back to you within 5 working days. Usually they come back within 5 working days, the Frcpath examinations department, and they will let you know if there is any issue or why it got delayed. But ideally you should get those emails, and then you will get more emails before the exam, about a lot of things, about a lot of information, how to give in when and what and where, and all those informations you will get them. So you need to be sure whichever email ID you're putting up in the application form has to be something really working. And if at any point your email ID changes, you have to let the examinations departments know, because they are going to communicate to you on that email ID for a very, very long time, right? Once you clear your part 1, part 2, this, that, everything, they will, even when you're a fellow later on, just to maintain your membership, they're going to contact you on that email ID. So yes, and that is a problem for some people, because yeah, Gmail, most of us have accounts on Gmail, and they give you 15 GB of space, and sometimes it runs out, and your emails, you stop receiving emails. Then it happened to me. So yes, you have to make sure that you have an email ID with them. The registered email ID is something which is working, okay, because you will need it for a very long time. Don't let it get cross the 15 GB mark, and then you cannot receive emails. Don't let that happen. Okay. Yeah, so the exam day, I'm just giving you an overview of what the exam day is going to be looking like. Of course, the exam is going to be it's going to be held at one point across the globe. So the standard timing that they were going to take the exam is, of course, in the UK timing. So and this exam is going to be for 3 hours, and from the UK timing, it's going to be at 9 o'clock. So for you, it will become for people in India, it's around 4.5 or 5.5 hours later than that. So it's around lunchtime for you. Yeah. You can take breaks in your exam. Yeah, there's a possibility that you can even have a snack during your exam. So these are the things. Yeah, usually we don't, consider. Uh, I mean, these are usually not allowed when we are giving exams in India. But yes, here you are allowed to snack during your exam and water or anything like that, small things, but not move away from your place too much. But you can do all that, right? So yes, so be relaxed. All that you can do it. Time your day and everything, time your the routine for the day accordingly. All right, now test centers, as I already said, that there are no particular test centers as such. They used to be before, but now they are not. And now you can give it from your exam, from your home itself, right? Right. And what will you need at your home? You will need basic internet connection. You will need a desktop or maybe a desktop or laptop, whatever. And you need a camera because they will be monitoring you and that you don't cheat, etc. So you'll need a webcam, and you need a microphone. Okay, so you need these things, and the platform is called Test Reach. So like when I said that they're going to send you more emails, when the exam reaches, they're going to give you information about using Test Reach as well. So they're going to tell you how it's working. They're going to give you how to log in and how to use it, etc., etc. So you'll get all that information through email through them. Okay. Now, understanding the exam structure. The first part was examination logistics, which we finished just now, and now we're going to go and understand, how the exam is structured and what is it actually testing, right? What is it all about? What is the Frcpath Part 1 all about? So this is all about testing your theoretical knowledge. This is not a practical exam. It's more about for theory exam, right? And also it makes it's structured in a way that it'll assess your understanding of histopathology in general, the working of the lab, the how much you understand algorithms. If this happens, what do I do next? While reporting a case or while handling an issue in the lab, or if a colleague does something, or if this happens or that happens, etc. But also, as I said, theory. A lot of questions will be related to theory, or the exam, or the entities in itself. So diagnostic problems, theoretical problems, understanding of the lab problems. The scenario. What do you do in the scenario? That kind of problems. So those are the things that they're gonna assess you. So basically, it's like assuming that a person can handle or has handled or has seen how an everyday histopathology lab works, right? So you spend some time in the lab itself, in the sense that where the grossing is happening, where the processing is happening, and where the slides are being made, and how the stains are being done, and how the quality control is being done. So assume that you're spending some time there, and then assume that sometime there's a time where you're spending some time with your colleagues, and then when you're spending time with your seniors, and when you're spending time with yourself, and you're seeing slides, you're screening. Sometimes you're working late, sometimes you are overworked, sometimes you are not in the best of your capacity, right? So, and then you're doing things, and when you're doing things, and when you're seeing slides, how you're screening things, and what challenges you get, when you see a slide. Sometimes indiscrepancies, sometimes some things are not correct, sometimes you make a diagnosis because everything is right there. So those things, or that knowledge, they're assuming that you have been through this, and then you are able to answer questions. Okay, so that's why I said basically you will know that if you have all these knowledge and idea, then you will be able to really get this exam done in your first attempt, right? All right, so what are the topics that are covered in this exam? Yeah, so they're going to cover mostly histopath, okay, the histopathology, and ancillary testing. Of course, IHCs and genetics, and those are molecular. You have to know the basics of them. Yeah, you need to know them. Systemic pathology mostly. General pathology very less, very few things from them, but systemic basically you have to focus on that, right? Autopsy pathology is also something which is required in this exam. You will need to go through them. You will need to go through the basic principles. I will discuss in more details about where to study and what to study and how much to study on these topics again. But I'm just right now I'm just telling you what all things are covered. Okay. And general and cytopathology comes next because they're in less quantity, and of course molecular pathology. Molecular pathology also you need a little bit of knowledge about that as well, right? Next, okay, so how much time? It's for 3 hours. How many questions? There will be types. Okay, question types first. So the question types are going to be, it's not going to be a written exam. It's just a multiple choice questions, right? So what are the multiple choice formats? So one of them is going to be like, what is that called? Best of 4 or best of 5 format. Okay, so what that means is that you will have options and you will have to correct that. The typical MCQ, right? Typical MCQ or multiple choice, that you have question, you have answers. Sometimes there might be more than one answer correct, and sometimes there may be only one answer correct. So you have to understand that and you have to tick. And then sometimes the options may be 4, sometimes they may be 5. So you have to tick the best of whatever you think is the answer. But there's another question type which is called as an EMQ, or extended matching questions. Now, extended matching questions is like you will have a STEM case or a scenario or a question, maybe, for example, if you have an autopsy scene. So you will have an autopsy scene, and then you will have different, choices or different answers or possible answers, and then you have to select like multiple from them. You can select multiple from them. So there are multiple things matching to the scenario like that. So you have a lot of options from there. So the EMQs are more difficult. EMQs are something which at least I had not faced such questions while giving my postgraduate entrance exams or even my MBBS entrance exams. No, I have not faced that questions. So yes, that's a little bit of a challenge here. So EMQs, right? And then also you have the questions which are MCQs, but basically, more of an image based. That's my fifth point basically here, that have image based questions, and why that needs special mention because you need to focus on that as well when you're preparing for your exam, right? So there will be questions which will have only photos, and then you have the options, and you have to understand what that is, and you have to give your answer. All right. Question numbers, there are 125 questions, and I said there are 3 hours, so 125 questions and 3 hours, that gives you roughly 1.5 minutes for each question. So the more thorough you are, especially with the theoretical things and finding out diagnosis and spot diagnosis and picking up the correct thing and being sharp and all that is going to help you the most, because if you can save time on one, then you can allot that time to another question where you need more thinking or more time to think about the answers, especially EMQs. So EMQs might take more time for you, and then these will actually, then the MCQs you will have actually less than 1.5 minutes, right? So it's like not all the questions will require the same amount of time. Some will require less and some will require more from you. Okay. Syllabus, I've already discussed a little bit of that. Histopath is of course the majority, but you'll also have a little bit of cyto and a little bit of molecular, and autopsy is also one important thing that is there, right? Okay, let's come to the common challenges. This is the third thing we're going to discuss today. Now, common, when I say common, it's because it's faced commonly. A lot of people face them, so there are more people facing the same challenges. You may think of it as, oh, it's not relevant to me, and it also depends on how much level you are on. Right? Maybe you're a consultant for 5 years already. Then these are not common things for you. These are not going to be a challenge for you at all. But there may be people who are just giving their postgraduate exam, and then they're new in the field. They're still not being a consultant, or have not seen or faced that challenge. So then it becomes very common to them. So I'm talking in general, but it may not be relevant to you depending on which level you are on. So you know which is the best for you. Okay. All right. So what is the challenge during preparation? Yeah. Let's go through them one by one. Now, during preparation, when you are preparing for the exam, you might find that the breadth and content of the material is very vast. You have to go through a lot of things, especially in there might be things which are new to you, or which you have not. Sometimes you will have to sometimes unlearn things and then learn them again, right? For example, some practices, some guidelines, those kind of things, right? And then another thing which I think is a common challenge or a common problem during preparation is to maintain the work study balance, because probably if you have given all your exams already, you are now working somewhere, and then maintaining that work, and then in general working 6 days a week, and that's how people work in India, and then working the entire day, and then traveling after that, come back home, and then you might have some commitment at home as well. Even if you don't have it, it's still difficult to then again maintain time to, or maintain the energy to keep studying, right? So that is actually a very practical challenge that you have to overcome when you are when you have already started dreaming about the exam. You have to think about this. It's going to be a challenge for you to start preparing for it, but you will have to make some space in your entire day, or you have to show your commitment. You have to start planning your days so that you don't burn yourself out at the end of the day, and then you're like, I don't have the energy to study, because time is limited and it's an expensive exam. You have given your money and your dream. This is your dream, so you have to work hard for it. But to do that, of course, it's a challenge, and that I'm saying this is a challenge. It's a practical challenge that you have to face and overcome. Now, how you're going to do it is extremely personal, and it depends on you. But know that everybody is going through it, in their own ways, and everybody is trying to overcome it in some way or the other. Yeah. Now it becomes even more challenging if you're not working in a histopath lab. So if you're not working in a histopath, if you're working in a histopath, then things are kind of getting revised for you. So maybe you're seeing cases and they're revising cases, and even the general things that I said, like the working of the lab, the day-to-day issues that come up, sometimes the processing, sometimes the staining, sometimes with the IHC interpretation, those kind of things, it's much easier for you. And of course, the seeing in the slides itself, if you're being in touch with the slides, then that's a real blessing for you. But if you're not being able to do that, and you're basically, because that's what happens with most of us, don't doesn't it? Because when we are giving, because in India we become a pathologist and not a histopathologist in 3 years. So after that, you may or may not get a chance to go into a histopath lab. But if you do, it's good. If you do not, then it becomes even more challenging for you, because you will have to take out time from your job, and then you have to get in touch with the histopath lab, or at least the slides, or the processing, or be in touch with people who can discuss these things with you. So that's how you can maybe navigate yourself, right? And during the examination, what people find most challenging is that the time management. Like I said, EMQs might take up a lot of your time, and then uh, like we did the maths, and it was like, you have to give more than 1.5 minutes to a question. Now if you are not so familiar with the other questions, and there might be cases which you may not be used to, or you may not have heard of, or you might want to give more time to, and then 1.5 minutes is not a lot of time. It's just a few seconds, right? um, so you have to really focus on time management. Basically, you have to really focus, and you have to really practice. You have to understand that this is something that you're going to face on that day, and then you have to, how you're going to do it, how you're going to overcome it. You have to understand that. So this is going to be a part of your preparation as well, how you're going to manage the time. Okay. Image recognition is another issue, a big challenge, that you have to be very good in recognizing things. Now this will be easy for people who are familiar, or who can see slides day and night. But even if you are not, then if it's a challenge for you, then you have to overcome it by becoming more familiar with the visual appearance of things, common diseases, what the diagnostic features are, what they're trying to show, where you have to look, and what you have to see, and how to distinguish between the differentials. You need to know all that, right? So that is a kind of a challenging thing for you, and yeah, and that is something that you have to work on, right? And also, image recognition might become difficult, because I heard some people saying that the images that are given are low quality. Now this would not be a very good thing to do by Frcpath. Now the problem is that I have given a paper based exam, so for us it was like a print. And so in a print you can still understand or imagine that sometimes the quality might not be good, or you might not be able to find what you're trying to find. But even then, I do not recall having an issue with the image recognition. If in this case, in this matter, that because of the quality, it didn't happen to me, or at least I cannot recall that. But if you guys have also heard about this, and if that's a true thing, then I don't know, but that just adds up to your challenge, okay? Because you can't do anything about it. You get what you get. You get the quality, and you get the question in front of you, and you have to just give your answer in 1.5 minutes, right? That's the maximum you can take. So that's that. And EMA based questions, I again told you that it's going to take your time, it's going to take your mind off, it's going to eat up all your glucose from your brain. So it's going to be a challenging for you, the EMA based questions. So you have to do something about it. You have to make a note of it and you have to start practicing about it. Okay, you know the challenges now. You have to start working on them to overcome them, right? That's what you have to do now. OSPE scenarios are something like what I said already about the working of the lab, the working with the colleagues, the working of the day-to-day things that you face in your issues, that you face while seeing slides, those kind of things, like something went wrong in the lab, something is not matching, there's some discrepancy between two people, or something like that has happened, or you see a colleague doing something wrong, what are you going to do? So those kind of questions are called as OSPE scenarios, and those you may have faced it, you may be able to answer them better if you know you have already worked in lab, or if you have already participated in the lab. So if you have been an active person in the lab already, then you can answer those questions as well. But for some people who might not have the knowledge or would not know the algorithm, to do what to do, the first thing what to do. For example, if you're seeing a slide, the requisition form says say for example oral cavity, and when what you're seeing is a liver tissue, so what are you going to do next? So yeah, hopefully all of us have been through this, and you have taken actively, you have taken action in it, and you know what to do next, you know what to do and start, where to start, whom to talk to, and how you're going to solve it, right? So those kind of questions are also going to be there, and hopefully it is not challenging for you. Hopefully, I hope that nobody we can all do it, because especially because this is theoretical exam, you don't have to think, you don't have to waste time in thinking about giving an answer. The answers are right there, right? There are only 4 options or 5 options to choose from. You can, if you have common sense and common knowledge, you will be able to probably go navigate yourself through these auspice scenarios. Okay, I hope so. Now, with that, we will go to the next topic. Okay, what preparation strategies? What are you going to do to prepare for your exam? Like I gave you all the challenges, and if we are able to, whichever challenge suits you, or you think that might be challenging for you, you need to focus on those more, right? But this is like a general video for everybody, so I'm going to talk about all of them. But you have to personally, when you're listening to this, you have to understand what the challenges for you, and you're going to prepare yourself like that, because the time is very limited. You can't give too much time to this exam, because, and as I said, even if it's 2 months, it's not like you're going to give all the entire 2 months to the exam. You will be working, you have the commitments, you might be having, you have to give some family time, you have work issues, and then you have to doing all that, and then balancing your everything to take out time for your studies as well. So you need to be really focused, you need to have strategy in place, what you're going to do, and then you're going to conquer it, right? um, but one advice that I want to give you is that first thing I already told you is don't take it too lightly. And the other thing that I want to tell you is that don't leave your revisions and exam preparations until it's too late. Like, for example, even now, 16th February, I'm recording this today, and their exams are on 29th March. That's a little over a month, one month and 10 days now from now on, which is very less time actually. So it's less time, it's very less time. You just have 1 month left for your exam. So I hope that you already have things in place, and you have already gone through some revision stuff, some things and all. You already have some strategies in place for you. So okay, so don't leave it until it's very late, because the more time you give, the better your chances will be to come out of it, victoriously. Okay. All right. So what are the study materials that you need? You will need textbooks. You will need data sets. Data sets are again available on Google everywhere. You just have to type the Frcpath guidelines and this, and you're gonna get them. Data sets, right? So you're gonna get them for autopsies, and also for the cancer pathways, for all the histopathology stuff. So that's on Google. So you need your internet, of course, every time. You need your textbooks, physical or whichever way suits you. Now we used to have Telegram app, and all the books were available there. I mean, literally all the books were available there. Everything was there, including the WHO blue books and all the standard textbooks and everything. The latest editions were available, but recently I have seen that the pathology library on Telegram is completely blocked, and because of copyright infringement, and it's not available anymore. So that means you'll have to buy books and carry them if you want to go to carry it on your workplace, etc. But yeah, it is what it is. And then if you have a soft copy, good, you can use it, but start doing that, collecting what textbooks you want or what you already are used to, right? And data sets, of course, it's already there on the internet, so you don't really have to um, print out or download, unless you are used to, highlighting things and studying. So that depends on you. Social media, yes, you will need social media, but that's a challenge actually, because social media sometimes it just distracts you. Sometimes when you want to just go to the WhatsApp group and want to just see this, but once you just click on WhatsApp, you go to other chats and stories and updates and stuff like that, and it takes up your time. So you have to understand that you have to remain focused, right? So try to mute all that you don't want, right? Because social media really, I think it eats up your time the most, and it gives you nothing in return, right? I mean, I don't know, if you feel like you get something in return, then it's good for you, but for me it doesn't give me anything in return. And believe me, I have no social media on my phone, at least on my, oh yeah, I have WhatsApp because you need WhatsApp to be in touch with your family, but otherwise I don't have any of the social medias. And really it saves you time. So if you want to really save time, especially with all the challenges, at least for a few months, just get rid of them. Just get rid of them, and then you will see for yourself that how much time you're saving. Okay, but you will need social media. That's why I said that's a challenge, because you don't want it, because you waste time, but you still need it. Yeah, because you have to be in touch with people, you have to be in touch with colleagues, you have to be in touch with seniors, you have to know what the discussions are going on, you have to know what new things are happening. So Telegram is a good app for that, and WhatsApp is a good app for that. So, and if somebody knows Facebook, then maybe Facebook. If you know groups which are active and they are doing good discussions, then maybe Facebook as well. So yeah, but try to remain focused on what you are logging in for, right? And don't get distracted or swayed away by everything else about, all these other masala news and etc., right? Because you don't have that much time. You can do all that later when you give your exams, you can do that, but not now. All right, now online resources, courses, webinars, yes, you will need them all. You will need a lot of these things. I will be discussing all these in my next slides, but yes, you will need them, all of them. Okay. And then in the end, like I already said in my part 2 videos as well, whenever you're listening to anything, any webinar, anything, any courses, any notes, anything you come across, or any discussions you come across, you have to start making notes. And when I make notes, I make it on a soft copy, like on my internet, on my drive, Google Drive, because first of all, it's accessible from anywhere, everywhere. I don't have to worry about where it is, and also because it is much more legible. Yeah, I don't have a good writing, and most of us don't have a good writing, um, and in this exam, at least for part 1, you don't have to really practice writing. So part 2 is more about writing, and you should write more, because you have to write a lot in that exam. But part 1 is not more about writing, so don't worry about that as of now. But why that is more important is because if you want any editing, it's just so much easier to do it on a soft copy than a hard copy, isn't it? So yeah, that's just my advice. Again, it depends completely on how you are comfortable with, but just I would advise you to have notes, because you will need them, because that's, make notes of things which you don't know. Don't make notes of things which you know already. Something which you learn new, just write those down, keep writing them down, because you don't know them now, but you should, by the end of the revisions, you should be knowing all of that, if you know what I mean. So if you already know something, it's all right, you know it, even if somebody asks you in your sleep, you're going to answer it. But if you don't know anything, and there are some, you pick it up from a webinar or a course or a conference or anywhere, make a note of it, and then keep all those notes together and revise them. Keep revising when the time for revision is, and then before your exams, you will be, your knowledge has increased. You know this and what you already knew as well. Yeah, so that's how it is. Also, you need to prepare yourself for the online format of the exam. Why I'm saying that is because sometimes you may not be familiar so much with it. They will give you a practice time, or a time where you can log in and see everything. So before your exam, you have to understand and you have to prepare yourself for that as well. Yeah, apart from this, also, please, general advice is, know what to read and how much, so you don't have to go too much into detail about something and not irrelevant things, and then you're getting swayed away, or you're getting out of the way, or you're just getting off the track. So you have to know how much and what. I will discuss this in my next slides. And you have to start preparing early. As I said, don't make it too late. You start as early as you can. Okay. Once you have filled the form, you have paid the money. Please think about that money and the exam more than anything else. Okay, and start preparing early. As I said, you have to be in touch with colleagues and seniors because they'll give you good advices and options, and tips and tricks and everything. So be in touch with them throughout, and you need to know the scope of the exam. Okay, you need to know how much in depth they're going to go. So you don't really it's similar to what I already said. You need to know how much to read, so you don't have to delve into things which are not really required from you at this moment, right? Because as I said, this is an exam which they're expecting from a person who has 1 or 2 years of experience or exposure to histopathology. So they're not going to know everything about histopathology. Not everybody knows it, even after 5 years or 10 years of experience. Not everybody knows it, everything about all the subspecialties of histopath, right? So they're not going to expect that from you. But you need to know exactly what this, for every exam actually, in general, you need to know what the scope of that exam is, what they're expecting from you, and then you have to uh, prepare yourself like that, right? Okay, so these are the things that I would suggest for you. Now, let's go to the textbooks. Now, the first three, the textbooks that I have written down. It's the book by Steele, by William C. Gupta, and by Handbook of Surgical Pathology. I mean the reference handbook. Hopefully, you already have it, a copy of it, soft copy, hard copy, doesn't matter. You need to have one copy of that book for sure for this exam. Yeah, that is like a textbook, so you have a lot of information in there, you read it. But Steele and MC Gupta are in the form of examinations or questions, and then they have explanations later on. So you need to have these three books for sure. So Steele, MC Gupta, Handbook of Surgical Pathology, you need those three books for sure. And you have to go through them maybe more than one time, right? You have to go through them multiple times. If you want, make a note of them. If you want to highlight them, do whatever you want, but go through them, go through the explanations, and revise as much as you can, right? Next, if you have some more time, then you can go through Robbins and Sternberg review. Atlases if possible, maybe gross for gross images or for any other things, normal anatomy, things like that. If at all, if it is possible or available for you, then. And any other standard book if you don't have time, right? Uh, but Robbins and Sternberg review, again, you may uh, want to focus on those chapters, only the review books, okay? So they have only MCQs and explanations later. So for Robbins and Sternberg's review, you can choose one of them. That's the first thing. The other thing is that you don't have to go through all the questions about general pathology and all that. That's not required of you too much. You would want to concentrate on the systemic pathology, right? And even in systemic pathology, focus on the chapters which you are less confident in, or which you are not uh, which you don't know too much, or which you don't see daily in your daily practice, or if you're not wherever your center was where you got trained, you did not face that too much. Like for some people, like for me, I did my DNB from Mumbai, and there we had more of oncopathology, and really for us the benign things were it was very difficult for us to ever understand, because for us it was only if it's benign, it meant nothing to us. But for an exam point of view, benign also means something, and you have to still name them. And sometimes you still have to find out, some diagnostic criteria or something like that, or some diagnostic findings. And it is still a challenge for me till today. Then again, we never saw skin so much, but here skin is like very common, and everybody knows all kinds of dermat diseases, right? So it's not only the onco cases that I'm talking about, it's not only melanoma I'm talking about. That is of course one challenge, but even the other things like bullous diseases and other diseases, whatever they are, allergic dermatitis, all those eczematous diseases and everything. So if you think that that is one area which you don't know too much, then go to this Robbins or Sternberg review and practice the MCQs from that section, right? Again, for example, if you have neuropathology is a challenge for you, and I'm assuming not all of us have good exposure to neuropath in our training time. So if that is a problem, because neuropath again is is a topic where they will ask questions. Okay, so they have these areas where they focus on every time in the exams. So I feel like neuropath is one of those, and where you have all these what plaque is seen in which disease, which protein, and which this and that. So yes, those things. You can go and in that chapter neuropathology, and then just try to do those chapters, okay, and then pick out the points again, or make notes out of whichever things you need will help you in next time in solving these kind of questions, okay. So Roberts and Sternberg review for that reason. So wherever you think you need more focusing, or you have your weak areas, go to those chapters and practice those. Handbook, probably from the first page to the last page, you have to go through all the pages, everything. Make notes if possible, highlight if you need it, do whatever you want, but you have to go through them, because this will cover most of it. The IHCs, the molecular, the general stuff, the patterns and diseases and fungi and this and then whatnot. Everything is there in the handbook, so you have to go through that. Steele and Lindsay Gupta are more about giving you a feel of how the exam questions would be like. They are like a mock exam, okay, but you have to go through those two as well. Now these books, as I said again, for us it was much easier to get a hold of them online as well, online copy, and it was free for us to use from Telegram. But now you will have to buy them, and probably each of them will cost you around 40 50 pounds or 4,000 5,000 rupees, but that's okay. This is the part of the cost that you pay for the exam, right? So this is just yeah, you will need this, you will need these books for sure. Robin Sternberg, you don't need both, you can have one of them, but the other three, the first ABC of mine, Steele, Lindsay Gupta, and Handbook of Surgical Pathology, you need these three for sure, right? Yeah, so yes, do that. And then data sets. Now data sets, these are available on Google, free. You just need to go and see Rcpath guidelines, okay, and then you have to go for autopsy and cancer data sets and pathways. Now autopsies, you can get to know, what you can do is actually, especially if, that's why I said this is not already too late, you have only 1 month and 10 days left now. But if you've already started, or you started a little before 2 months, then you have the time to actually go through the autopsy data sets, pick out some points or some things which you think are important, and then make like a 1 page or 2 page note out of it, and then that should be enough for you to just revise later on, right? So you do this beforehand, or when you're at work and you're not, you just can go through something, or maybe in your lunch break or something like that. You have to take out time and make notes out of this, extract the notes, and then keep a copy of that, and try to make it as concise a note as possible, because you don't want to give too much time to it, but at the same time you cannot ignore it completely, okay. You need to go through the autopsies for sure. Cancer datasets and pathways, same thing. Some of them are too long, some of them are short and concise, but I always tell you that an alternative is to go through the CAP templates. But the best approach would be that the first time that you're going through, keep your CAP and your Rcpath together, because the CAP is much more concise. Yeah, it's much more limited. It has all the T information, T size and N size and M size information. Yes, it has all the information of core data set, that what all things are needed to be recorded in a specimen. Yes, there might be some things, like say for example, they are more into measuring things in centimeter, and some here they want to measure things in millimeter. So those general things you should just know. Okay, once you read even one data set, you will understand. Okay, this is their method and this is their method. All right. Because going through all the Rcpath guidelines is going to take you every time you do it. Every time if you want to do it, it's going to take you a lot of time. It's going to take you a lot of time. So my suggestion is that once you're doing it for the first time, because the CAP templates are so much limited, use them. But when you're going, keep a side by side, just go through the Rcpath as well. And if you find anything new or anything which worth highlighting or anything worth noting, just copy paste it or write it down on your CAP template, right? And so that you have all the information, like the T size, N size, how to assess the margins, where these are, what that means, etc., etc., because they have all the definitions, explanatory notes down as well. So you have everything there, which is like a quick recap. And then you also have the information which is not there from the Rcpath, right? And then the other things that they talk about in the Rcpath guidelines, you may not need them. You also have the core items anyways in the CAP template as well. Sometimes there might be more items in the CAP template, so just strike them off, saying that this is non-core. This is not the important thing required for the Rcpath, according to the Rcpath guidelines. Okay, so that's all you need. It will be a one-time effort, but it will help you a long way, because you will need these again for your part 2 as well. So once you are able to do this, then you are good to go for a very long time, because even later on, because I think they are too exhaustive, the Rcpath guidelines, and they're more for when you really need some help and you're stuck in a case and you want to go back and you read like a reference thing, it's more for that, and not for every time reading it every time and revising it. So you just need some points from there, which you can do that once and take out all the points, and then for the other times just use the cap template and yeah, make that as a main source to revise, because that is possible to revise multiple times. Even in that, if you want, you can underline, of course, whatever you want, or you can highlight whatever you want, or do whatever you want. Okay, so you that's a tip from my side. Okay, now online resources. Yeah, John Hopkins Cytology and Histopathology. I find that website to be very informative and good, because they have explanatory notes and they have case-based things. They have a one website for cytology and another website for histopathology or surgical pathology, and they call it conference, histopathology conference and cytology conference. But they have multiple cases there. Now the good thing about this is, for part one, what you need is that you will have questions. You know that by now, that you have questions which are image based questions or recognition, so that you will have a photo and you have to answer based on that photo. On John Hopkins website, what I'm talking about, you have a similar format. So you have a picture, and in that picture you have a question, and you have options, and you have answers in the end. So it is a good way of revising for your image based recognition, right? It's perfect, because you will understand what kind of image and what kind of findings you will be able to see in what diseases, because there you will have the explanation, so you will understand what is there. And this is what you need for your part one. For part two, you will have a slide, you have to see the entire thing, right? For part one, they have already done a photo for you. The finding is right there in front of you. You don't have to look more than that. You just have to look at the picture, and you just need to know what you're seeing. So, and you already have the answers or the options there as well. So it is much easier in that way, right? And this website is going to help you in that. So I would suggest, and these are again the reasons why you have to start your revisions as early as possible, because you're not going to get time, too much time towards the end. So yes, if you get time, anytime, between your work, or early in the morning, if you're traveling, then during your travel you can do it. Keep revising things and reading a little bit about each case, so you can use those times for doing the John Hopkins thing, because I would really suggest this, advise this, because it really is a good revision for the image based recognition questions, right? And it has there for cytology and histopathology both. So in that way also it's good, because it's going to cover your cyto and histo both. So I think, yeah, you really should consider this. Web pathology, again, I find that very useful, because again it has a lot of cases, a lot of gross images as well, and a lot of what do you call it, histopath images, histology images as well. And it also has the variant images, so if there's a disease and then there are variants of it, or some case which has more or less of it, then they have the entire spectrum. Mostly they have it. I'm not saying that it is complete. It's not a textbook, of course. It's not complete, but it is, it's a lot. I think it's sufficient, I would say. There are enough things there on web pathology. I personally like that website. It's there on my favorites list too. So yes, so yeah, I like that website, and I think if you have time, you can go through that website as well, because it gives you a good overview of things and good thing. And now people, they love pathology outlines too much, but for me it's too much information for you. You cannot go through all the cases and all the pictures and everything there. I find pathology outlines to be more helpful when you're doing a case live and when you're not in an exam setting or an exam preparation setting. But when you're in an exam preparation, you want as concise and as precise information as possible in the quickest time, and yet you still want everything there. Now, pathology outline is more for all the cases, rare ones, the usual ones, this one, that one, everything. But web pathology will not have all the rare ones, etc. And you are not expected at this moment to have knowledge of about all the rare cases and the entire spectrum of histopathology, right? So that ways, I feel web pathology is a good option, because it gives you pictures of gross as well, because you might have gross images as well. So you need to understand that. So you can get all these information from these two things, and these are online. And whatever online resources I'm talking about, again, think about how you're going to put these into your daily routine and how you're going to take out time for this. So online, I think, because it is limited to your like not a laptop, but maybe an iPad or a tablet or a phone. So you can do this while you're traveling, or maybe whenever you get time, do it. Just do it. Yeah. So that is why you have to take out time for these things, and that is why you need to cut down time on your other social media and stuff, right? Because those are just taking out your time for nothing and not giving you anything in return, right? Another important and very very useful resource is of course the Kurt's notes. It is amazing collection of notes. It's like a ready-made note with pictures side on the side. So that is actually also a very good what do you call it, template for making your own notes. And when I made my notes, I also have included pictures in the side. So I have points which I want to how which I need for recognizing a case, and then I have a picture on the side so that I just see what I have to find, or what I need to see, and then I mean, I have to look for this things in the picture or the slide, and these are the points theoretically. So that is a good way of writing your notes too. So put a picture or a table next to it so that you know quickly how to revise things. Yeah. So Kurt has already done it for you, Dr. Kurt, and we really should be, all of us should be thankful to him for this amazing information that he has put up online, and it's all free to download and for everybody to use it, and it is exhaustive. He has used a lot of things. He has now also has things about molecular pathology and IHCs and everything. So and I think he has taken the IHC notes from the handbook book. So if you're using that handbook book, or you can use Kurt's notes also for the IHC revision. It's I think it's the same that he has used. But anyway, so you would need should go back to Kurt's notes as well for something which you want. He even has notes for cytology and for most of the systemic pathology and for molecular pathology and all those things. So yes, Kurt's notes also wonderful, amazing, very valuable, very useful resource, available online, available free. All that I have written here is free except for the textbooks, of course. Textbooks you need to buy. Those used to be free and available on Telegram before, but now copyright infringement, they are not available anymore, right? So you need to buy them, the latest versions there. But otherwise, everything else is free. The data sets are free. The online resources, whatever I have written, is free, right? If Frcpath themselves have, again, when you go back to your Frcpath account, you go to the examination center, you find for an Frcpath exam resource, you will get one copy of sample questions. Okay, you can go through that, but that's a limited amount of questions. But yes, that's something which is available online and for free. Okay, so one last piece of advice: when you are going through the textbook, like I said, or here any other standard textbook, when you're going through that, you should not and cannot, and possibly nobody can go through the entire textbook and revise everything, right? It's gonna take you so much time, and you can't do it. So what you can do it in very short and very effective manner is that you just need to go through the pictures. Okay, just go through the pictures and tables from the book and read out their legends or captions. Okay, the captions and the legends are going to give you so much information. It's going to give you the information, but first of all, the pictures would be from the um, it can be there from rare cases as well, but mostly they will cover all the common ones. Okay, so that's a given. All the common diseases are going to be there on the through pictures as well in the textbooks, any standard textbook, and they will have a caption explaining the main features, what they're seeing there, right? And it will also have examples about sometimes about IHC. So sometimes you will also get an idea about what pattern of IHC you are seeing, right? And that will might stick into your head, and it might help you in the exam as well. So when you're going through any standard textbook, just go through their figures and tables. It's going to save you a lot of time, and at the same time, it's going to give you information about all the things that you need to know. And at the same time, it's going to give you information about what the buzzwords or the important things are to look for, and IHCs, if possible, related to it. Any other differentials, they usually discuss that in the legend itself. So all that information you're going to get in a very short time, effective manner. And because already because maybe you're already a postgraduate recently, or you're already preparing for it, so you already know the other stuff already, the basics of the theory. But this is your revision thing, or this is what you want to revise or study more. So this part, if you just go through the figures and tables, is going to give you a very quick and effective revision and understanding of things, and it's going to really help you. I think so. Yeah, this advice was given to me by my mentor, and I am giving it to you. So because I think it really helps. Yeah, it really helps. So do that. There might be other books available on Amazon or I don't know, other places, etc. There might be books which you might have bought for yourself for your exams. Like we had a book for DNB MD pathology exam. Those also consist of cases, common ones, and they also have some questions next to it. You can go through them if you have time, and if you have already gone through them and you have already highlighted things, it's okay, you can go through them as well. It all depends on how much time you are able to manage and how much time you're able to squeeze out of your day. Okay, so with all these information right now in mind, what you need to do is start making a strategy for yourself. Take out time about how much time you're going to give you to your textbooks, how much to data sets, how much to other online resources. Online resources are like a practice thing or like a revision thing, right? Textbooks are like more of what you're going to do a study on your own. If you don't have time for making notes, it's unfortunate. It'll be unfortunate because it's going to help you for your part two as well. But if it is possible for you, at least give 2 or 3 weeks. Even now you have some time, so give 2 or 3 weeks to make your notes and read the books, etc. Go through the textbooks, etc., or your data sets, and take out notes from them, and do the CAPT and RCPath guidelines comparison thing and all that. Do all that right now, and then every day while you're traveling or while you're doing something light where you can take out some time, on the side of your screen, go through the revision as much as you can, right, on web pathology or the John Hopkins websites, and then see how you're progressing in the next 2 3 weeks, and then whatever notes you have accumulated, you can then build on them or revise on them in the last 2 3 weeks, uh, if at all you start practicing now. Yeah, if you're listening this at a time when you have sufficient time, then you can think about a different strategy. Give more time to your textbooks, give more time to understanding things, give more time to your revisions, give more time to your online resources. Yeah, so it all depends on how much time you have and how much time you can take out, how much commitment you have to give to other things, etc. because because yes, you have to balance everything out. Yeah, you have to do that. All right, now revision techniques. I've already given you some tips. Now if you have your notes already, you would be revising your notes. Okay, the revision techniques will come in the last fortnight or so. Okay, so you will need to revise the notes. That's why I want you to have notes about everything, about your autopsies, about your data sets, about your cytopathology, about your systemic pathology, as much as you can, especially on the area which you are less familiar with, for example neuropathology or dermatopathology. Yeah, so you need to understand that there is no area which you are leaving uncovered. Do not underestimate any area, because each question is going to make you get closer to your marking, right? So don't underestimate that, yeah, just don't underestimate, or don't not prepare for anything. Yeah, you should try to prepare for all of these things, and you have to have a daily revision, right? You have to, when you are revising, I'm talking about the last fortnight now, right? So when you're revising, you need to have daily revisions, and you need to set aside a time for revision, which has to be a committed time, which all your family members and all your everybody should know that, okay, this is time that you cannot be disturbed, because you're really concentrating and doing it. And you need to have your goals, and you need to meet your goals. Okay, so have a goal for daily basis and have a goal for a weekly basis, and then try to meet those goals for revision itself. Question practices, you will need to do them, because they will help you in getting used to the question format, the time, how you might be able to come up with your own tips and tricks about how to solve the problems, etc. Yeah, and mock exams, of course. Sometimes they might be live exams, sometimes they might be courses which they will be available online, and they might be taking mock exams, and you can register for them. Of course, these will be paid, and you will have to register for them, and then you will have to give the exams. But you might want to take one or two of them, because they might actually give you the feel, and they might actually give you help you in getting used to, and sometimes even the topics that they cover gets repeated. So it's never a bad idea to register for these courses or these mock exams, and then yeah, take it from there. Sometimes you might come across a book which will consist of all these mock exams. The best books, of course, still remain the Steele and Limsey Gupta. But if you come across another book and you think that you like it, or you like the pattern or the format or anything about it, Yeah, you should do it. You should use it, and you should use it as a revision strategy for your exams. You need to do it in any way you can. Okay, that's the basic thing. Either it's in the form of a live exam going on. It may not be a full exam. It may just be 60 questions out of one instead of 125. It may be anything, but just do it because you need to get the feel before you give your actual exam. Right? You've already paid £700 for this, so if you have to pay another 60 or 70 or 100, don't think about it. You cannot think about money at this moment now. Okay, when you are in your revision phase, you have to give whatever it takes, and you have to give your exams before you're giving your finals, right? Courses, of course, there's I have mentioned their name before too, and I'm not saying that I'm associated with them or anything like that. But yes, I did take an exam from them, and they had, I think, 60 questions for their exam. There was Pathology Online Hub. They conduct exams every now and then. I think they have too many things now that they do. They've become, I think, pretty famous now. So you can register for their exams as well, and you can get that done as well. And I think there's another one called Oxbridge Medica or something. They also conduct exams, so you can choose whichever you want for a course, or for an overview, or for tips or advices or whatever, and also for this mock exams too. Yeah. Now stay connected with the slides. This is going to be my strongest advice, that can stay connected with the slides. Now if you say that, oh, I'm not lucky enough to be working in a histopath lab or being connected with the slides, it's okay. If real slides not available to you, there are other options. There are people who have these slide libraries, or otherwise you have pictures and virtual slides. So if you don't have a real slide, go for the virtual slide. You don't have an option of saying that no, that's not available. That is available and in great quantity. Okay, the best example, of course, will be Virtual Pathology Leads website, which has thousands and thousands of slides. They have an amazing slide library. You just need to type in the keywords, and the questions come up, or you can solve the Frcpath exams. It's going to anyways help you in your part 2 exams. So if you want to do that way, or if you want to just do section wise, system wise, there are multiple options to use the Virtual Pathology Leads website. But apart from that, also you have other platforms where you can see virtual slides. But you have to be connected with the slides. Of course, it's the best to be connected with the real slides, but yeah, virtual is also okay, and pictures are also okay as far as part 1 is concerned, because in this one you're not going to get a slide, you're just going to get a picture. So if you keep yourself familiarized with the pictures, common findings, these findings, even if you're seeing just the textbooks, and like I said, and going through the pictures, should be enough. But you have to stay connected with the images, right? Because those are a good chunk of your exam. Okay, and don't forget that gross is also going to be a part of the exam, so don't forget the gross. Okay. Yeah. Others, yeah, focus on your weak areas. Of course, that's the most common advice you will listen from anybody, because you need to understand that you are completely confident and fearless. Don't worry about those areas more, but worry about the areas where there is that there's something lacking, you don't know it, or you haven't been exposed to it, or you don't understand it. Just give more time to it, right? You will be able to conquer it. Just give more time to it. um, Sometimes cytopathology is often a weak point for people, yeah, especially in image setting, etc. Try to understand. If you go through the John Hopkins website, you will get a fair idea of how to judge things, how to see the background, how to compare cell size with the something in the background, like an RBC or a neutrophil or something, just to see how big or how things are going on, how to compare things, etc. You will get a good idea if you go through that website. But yes, if it is a weak point for you, cytopathology by imaging, you have to give more time to it. I have already given you the resources names, and where you have to focus on, or where you can find your more things to help you out. Now you need to start making your plan, and you need to start doing what you need to do, right? uh, um, yes, as I said, go through images, as many as you can from the textbooks, and I already said don't forget the gross images, because they are a part of the exam too. And yes, sometimes you might not be able to understand them, because those are actually images of not a gross picture. Sometimes they are real, like what do you call it, unfixed specimens, so they all look red. And sometimes they're like museum specimens, so they're completely looking beiged, or brownish in color. So you don't understand what is happening. but sometimes you might be lucky to just get the correct the right image, and you may be able to understand what is happening. Okay, so especially gross images for tumors are, yeah, it's all of us have seen and we understand what's happening, but the the benign things, or lung cases, or yeah, those kind of things, maybe if that's a challenge for you, yeah, you should think about going through them more. Okay, if you don't have an atlas and you just have the diseases in your name, in your mind, you can just google it and see the images, but just go through them so that you have an idea of what looks like what, right, on gross. You need to remain active during a discussion on social media. Keep yourself active. Keep the notifications on for the some cases you might want to know what is happening, what happened. If you want to ask questions, if you want to reach out to people, do all that, right? Facebook might also be helpful. Telegram might be helpful. WhatsApp might be helpful. See what suits you best. See which group, which people, what discussions are looking like, more focused, and then yeah, accordingly gather all the tips, gather all the advices, gather all the information, and work on it. Yeah, OSPI and governance type questions will be there, but I feel that you will be able to solve them, especially if you have been in touch with the lab, and also you should have good common knowledge, and also because you just have selected options to choose from, so probably it should not be a big challenge. They will be simple, it cannot be too much, like what happens if you're working late, and a specimen comes up and you see a renal tumor and a renal case, what are you going to do? Things like that. So you would have gone through it at some point in your training or some point in your life by now, and so you will be able to solve them. Okay, trust me. If at all you're not able to solve them, it's okay. Trust me, it's okay, because you cannot right now think about preparing for it, and because as it is, there are no books for OSPE or governance type questions. So what you need to do is use either your common knowledge, either your practical knowledge, or you need to, I don't know what else you can do, or maybe when you register yourself for the courses, they might give you some examples or scenarios so you can practice or build up on them. Otherwise you don't have any other thing to prepare for it anyways. So what, this is the best you can do anyways. And if at all there's a question which comes up and you don't understand, you can just take an answer and get done with it, because either you will get it correct because you have used your mind and wisdom and knowledge and whatever you have put it into it, and you have take the correct answer to the best of your understanding. So either if it's correct, it's fine. Even if it's not correct, you're not going to lose marks. There's no negative marking as such. So it's okay if you miss out on the question. It's okay, because otherwise you don't anyways have a time or anything else that you can give time to for preparing this question. You don't have a resource for it, too many resources for it anyways. So do not worry about it as of now. That is what I would say. So you will be able to solve it probably, hopefully, yeah. And if at all you're not on the exam day, just don't worry about it. It's okay. Just tick anything, because it's anyways, there's no negative marking. Yeah. All right. So I do have more slides, and there are things that I have to discuss yet. But I think this is becoming very long, so I'll stop it now, and I will have a of this part two of this video, continuation of this video, and we'll finish it off there. Okay, hopefully. So all the best to everybody, and I will see you guys soon with the next part of this video. Thank you. Bye bye.